all the things. Hello, everyone. Jess Claire here, coming to you live in Australia, 9 p.m. Well, 9:07. We are late. We should probably just make this 9:05 now, Tom. Coming to you with this awesome human, Tom Forts Mayer. It's now 12:07 in the UK. And tonight we're going to be talking about raw and real experiences and what's really happening. Hello, Hayley. What's really happening in our relationships? Tom got on here tonight and just said, you know, he acknowledged that he saw that raw, real challenge that I created. Excuse me. And I was like, you know, imagine so many people complain about Tom Does Rock. So many people complain that Facebook is so fake and the real lives of people are not really on Facebook. And so I decided to do something about that. And we wanted to talk about that tonight, but also offer the opportunity if someone wants to come on and be coached by Tom, whilst we're talking about this, if there is something here tonight where, you know, it's got me going. If there is something that people really, really are grappling with or dealing with and they would like to get coached by Tom and I and come on, you know, tonight's probably the night to do that. So just say yes or just identify yourself. We will send you a link so you can jump on. I would do this. Hayley, do you want to jump on? Do you want to jump on and be coached by Tom and I? If you do, just go, yes, I'm in.
Do it. Let's do it, Hayley.
Oi, that fucks me off. What fucks you off, Kelsey?
Fake book.
But I think fake book. Yeah. So you know, we're opening it up tonight. Yes. Okay. I'll send you the link. You're it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So
sometimes we want to know what we want to talk about, right? And sometimes it's really clear. And then other times we're like, oh, let's see what turns up. I felt quite strongly that, you know, there's people out there that we could, support. This is called Evolution Solutions. We want to help people who are kind of on the edge of something. And by having a conversation about it and exploring the inner and outer worlds around it, we all get to learn something. This is not about Jess and I dictating an ideology. We're here to explore what comes through so that we all kind of feel like we're being involved through the conversation. So not coming from the known, but really opening to the unknown together.
Absolutely. And, you know, before we jumped on, we were talking about our own raw, real experiences, right? And for me, what I said to Tom is it's like there's 8 billion people here and we're all living out our own world. And it's almost like if we get raw and real about the experience of what it's like to live so much in your own world and then have to communicate that with so many people and navigate that around, it can get really frustrating and it can get hard and it can get tough and it can get sad. And there's so many things for us to actually navigate, except what we're putting on Facebook is here's a picture of my dinner. And, oh, I run a business. So here's my program and everything's great over here. But is it? Are things really that great? Hayley, I just sent you the link. So please do jump on and we will be able to, you know, coach you on this. Would love to hear from you. For those who else are jumping on, Mark, hello, Mark. Hayley, Marilyn, Kelsey. We really want to explore this tonight. So yes, please.
So yeah, exploring it. So some Mary, I'm from Birmingham originally, but I'm based in London now. I'm trying to in the next few months hopefully move to the coast.
Oh, this is so cool. I love this chick.
So just to be really clear, hi.
Hey.
Hey, Hayley.
That's awesome.
How are you? Hey.
So good. Tom was just finishing off something and then we're going to come to you. We're going to coach you, babes.
I'm
I
excited.
can't wait. Fucking love you.
Hey,
I'm so
wait.
excited to see you. Yes.
Awesome.
Got your cup of tea?
Perfect. Well, I was just saying that, just for people, we're here to really explore what it is to be real and to deal with, the dissonance between what people show on social media and what's the truth. But that if we're asking someone to come on, then we're here to really help you with whatever you're at, wherever you're at, and we can be raw and real together, and we can demonstrate. Jess is constantly exposing her shadow and her difficult truths everywhere she can to get beyond these kind of projections of perfection and help everyone be more honest and open. I'm passionate about trying to do that, trying to avoid the projection of having it all together. My partner runs a thing called Mum Truth, which is all about mums being honest about how bloody hard it is, because people just, aren't as open and honest about that. So when you're struggling, you just think you're on your own in it. So really here to help people come on and share anything that they're struggling with, and for us to do our best to get real and raw about it and see, more of this on social media where we're talking about our challenges and our difficulties and being open about it.
You'll be back. Okay, just while we're waiting for Hayley to come back, I think I just want to. That's exactly why I do it. It's like, let's be fucking real about what it's like to be human. It's a roller coaster. Yeah. Whether I'm a successful entrepreneur, and it's a roller coaster. I lose money. I get worried. There are some months that I just this last week, I've actually had a big 2 weeks. I've had a tough time. I've had some hard news in my life around a bunch of things, and I haven't really been myself, and I've been far sadder than I usually am. Mm-hmm. And it's a roller coaster, and I hate this idea that we put these facades out that I'll turn you into a 6-7 figure entrepreneur, right? And I say that all right because it's actually nothing wrong with that. But when it doesn't come along with the other realities, I find that it's a little bit misleading.
Yeah, no, I really agree. I think also, but the fantasy that life's meant to be easy causes so much trouble because it's phenomenally complicated and complex and frustrating and awful at times, or commonly. And the things that are great don't feel as great as we thought they would. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Our phone goes off in the middle of a live.
We'll introduce Hayley while you're taking that. And Ingrid, so good to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hayley Birtles Eads, what had you jumped? Why don't you introduce yourself and what had you jump on tonight?
Oh, look, I'm always watching you anyway. So I just you put the call out and I answered it. That simple.
Here I am.
Awesome.
You're the co-founder of Obsessed Hub, and you run Be Inc. brand and marketing. You're actually my brand and marketing guru. Absolutely love your work. So what's happening? What do you want coaching on tonight? How can we assist you?
Look, I am going through so much. There's so many things that are happening right now. We're moving 15 years of business that's been in place, and there's a lot of things that are happening right now. So I'm going through so many different shades of all sorts of stuff, emotional stuff, from 15 years of being in one place, and the attachment to that, and then people not wanting to pull their weight. I've got staff at the moment that are doing crazy things that I wouldn't expect them to do. Me, Jess, I'll go through things and I'd be like, okay, so I'm doing this, so everyone row in this direction. And then when someone doesn't, it's kind of what the fuck are you doing? And then I have other people going, but they have a right to kind of have their life. I'm like, yeah, but can't they see what's going on right now? Can't they see? Can't you see what's happening in our business right now? Do I not? Am I that much of a shitty boss that when I do certain things that are over and above, have I not earned my stripes for me to ask extra favors? And that's doing my head in right now, if I'm honest. Literally, it's kind of, we're in deep in moving, and it's crazy days. And for me to ask my staff that have worked with me for years to put in the extra hours because you've got extra shit going on, am I selfish? Is that selfish? I don't know.
It's a hard thing when we're someone who prides ourselves on really applying ourselves, and we have to dig and we constantly look for the sixth gear, and that for us is just the standard where we know over delivering is actually delivering, right? So that's just normal, and that's what makes us a success, right? That's what makes things work. But it's very, very rare, very, very rare that all of our team members will bring anywhere near that level of verve to something, and it's really, really, really hard. I had an old business partner who's an amazing guy, super massive hyper brain, and he had this phrase that 95% is halfway there. And I loved that, but he was exhausting to work with. I mean, he was absolutely exhausting. But he kept lecturing all of our supply chain, on excellence. I'm like, stop coaching our postman, man. He's like, you're freaking him out. It's like, and so exacting standards it's frustrating when
that's
bring
the
the
thing,
same to it,
Well, that's the thing, Tom. Like, I mean, these are they're high level guys. They're not they're not the apprentices. Like, it's the guy who is not an apprentice. He's like the high level guy. So to me, I look at it and go, you should be showing leadership skills. And it makes me feel like a failure because I haven't shown you the way to show the leadership skills to the apprentices. And yet the apprentices are the ones, and I can't, I'm torn because the apprentices were there tonight helping, and yet there were people that didn't show up, and I'm just like, fuck. So,
Yes.
Can I can I ask a question, Hayley?
Yeah, go for it.
What is it that you really need right now?
Participation. I just want people to show up. That's all.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't even care how you show up. I just want you to show up and to say, I'm here. What do you need? Because it's a big job. It's $150,000 move. It's 15 years of moving out of one place, moving into a new place with a commitment to 15 years. This for everyone. All the things that you've asked for, all staff, everything that they've asked for, I've delivered in this move. But you can't put in the few hours. It's met with excuses. So I want participation, and I want commitment, maybe.
And a return on investment, right? In terms of you have invested. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
I don't pay them a pittance either.
I
pay above.
Yeah, I think someone just said it. I can hear it too. You're feeling really unsupported.
Yeah.
And on your own.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's yeah.
And it's so bad. For me, when I cry out and say I'm feeling unsupported, I feel bad for saying that. I feel like I shouldn't be saying that because I'm a boss, and I have no right to say that because I'm paying someone. It's well, I am paying you. And that's right. Then we have these hours that go from X to X. But is that where we are now? Is that the society we live in?
Yeah. It's really interesting because Tom and I were talking about this. We kind of set it up as we were waiting for you to jump on. Is that we all live in such different bubbles. And I know I was just doing this today with my team. I mean, my team's a lot smaller than yours, but it's I'm going like this and everything makes so much sense to me. It's I can't do this on my own. I've got a lineup of A to Z actions. I need you guys to assist me. We just do the thing.
That's it. The stuff and the things.
It's just the things.
I'm a teacher that says, the things. The stuff and the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I had I've been saying, I've got a podcast coming up, and I've been saying to my assistant for weeks, could you just book them in? Just book them in. It's just a task. Just book them in. And she keeps sending me this message that says, can you provide this? And I'm like, can you just book them in? So she's just booked them in. Right. So we're in different worlds. And finally, I just took this action tonight going, why do you keep asking me that? It's weird. And we haven't booked anyone in. And in her mind, she's like, it's a professional podcast. Once you do this and this and this and this, then I'll book them in.
Mm.
And I finally got her world. And I could see why I'm like doing the thing and thinking it's so simple. And then I just said to her, we're not going to do it like that. Here's how I want to do it. Could you please do this and not that? And then it got done.
Well, you know what's really funny?
Yeah.
Interesting that you say that, because one of the other staff members was like, but the thing is, they didn't know that this is what the schedule was going to be. I'm like, they thought that we were going to be moving last week. I'm like, yeah, but last week didn't happen because of X. Like, we moved all of that, and then I clarified it at the start. And then, I know. Tom's like going, oh, God.
I know. It's like, you know, it's like we're like, you have to, as an entrepreneur, it's a constant flipping pivot, and you need people to pivot with you, right? You know?
Yeah. And it's hard because, you know, I have some amazing staff that do that. I really do. And they're there and they do, and they ballerine and they do all that stuff. But then you've got the ones that are, like, to me, I guess it feels like the ones that we do the most for do the less for.
Yeah, which sucks, right?
Yeah, it kind of does. Because I'm literally, if I was going to, and I'm not going to, not on here anyway, but some of the stuff that over the years that we've been through together as staff, you know, employer versus employee, you kind of go, I've put my yards in, you know, and then the one moment where we say, listen, we need you to go balls in now. And it's met with a bullshit excuse. Like, I don't know. And this is what shit, like, for me, like, we try to set up these kind of environments, right, in a professional way where you have an employer-employee agreement. Then we have to have, like, you know, we have a wine fridge and a beer fridge, and we have, like, the cool shit, and we do cool shit during the day, but none of that's taken into factor when it comes to the hard stuff, right? None of that's considered at all. We're expected to be that way as bosses, to be cool and do the cool shit, but it means nothing, really. Like, none of that is you can't, like, account for that.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I'm hearing, which I'm really struggling with, is, you know, I'm noticing in myself that there are these roles, you know, like, so you're in boss, you know, there's boss role, right? And boss has to be cool, but she's also got to be, like, not needy, right? And be like, you know what, I really need your help, and I'm feeling really let down. There's this veneer of professionalism, you know, and I know Jess has any sense of veneer, right? And it's inhuman. It creates up these inhuman structures where we need, you know, employment contracts, and we need all of these provision and care. And it's like, in the background, there's just it's all fucking transactional, and it's not human.
No.
And it's, I don't know, I kind of been making an unspoken vow to myself that's been evolving, you know. You can feel them stirring, you know, these unspoken vows. And it's like, I want to be exactly the same everywhere. I want no roles. I want my life where I get to be the same entity, which is ever evolving and ever pivoting and not fixed. But in that sense, it's like, I would want someone to be able to, who from any area of my life, drop in on any other area of my life and have a total experience of, like, oh, well, that's what I know that to be. You know, none of this mask, none of this persona, none of these different roles that we use to make things polite and functional. I'm just starting to feel it's just starting to, you know, I saw a post the other day with Matthew Lillian. He's like, I'm not here to build a brand. I know you do branding, but he's like, I'm here to be my unique self, right? And to be, you know, and just to be worked through, you know, as a vessel, you know. And it's like, how do we run empires like that? You know, how do we have relationships?
You can't. Like, how can you do that? How can you have, like, what you personally want? Because there's so much money, effort, time, and energy that goes into personal brand versus business brand. Because a personal brand is vastly different to a business brand.
Yeah.
And you can't. They're two totally different things. So you can't have. There's an emotional energy that goes through a business brand in as much as a personal brand, and you can't, like, it's, how do you run you cannot run the two things the same way. You just can't.
No,
like, I get it from Matthew's perspective, though.
Yeah.
Do you know,
I think that probably speaks to where I'm at, where I've been in the process of trying to launch a kind of mindset and self-therapy meditation app for the last year and a half, which is unbelievable. And that's been launched as a kind of entity as itself. And then there's aching inside me as a personal brand that hasn't been expressed. And so it's that obviously spoke to me. But for me, it's within all of these different entities, we have these roles that we have to play. And I think that the boss role is just a strangely uncomfortable one, especially when we're actually in need, and we've invested in people and we want people to see that investment and then really turn up. And I know you're saying loads of your people do, right? But it's a particular kind of painful thing. People bring to that relationship all their parent projections, where you have to provide completely and can't be needy on them, can't even be emotional with them. It's like I just ran a container. It was a totally free container, had loads and loads of people engaging with it, and I was so attentive. I chose to be like super attentive. Everything went out perfectly on time, and I answered every post with a personal comment, but I also added love hearts and emojis to all of the comments, at least 95% of them. And then I'd announced there was a competition within it for the engagement, and I said I was going to announce the winner on Saturday, and I announced it on the Sunday, and someone sent me a message. They were really upset, and I'm like, really, this is a challenge. The weekend, I don't know why I said I was going to announce it on Saturday. I mean, fine, I announced it on Sunday, but they were like, oh man, and it really impacted on me. I'm like, what, sometimes when you give that much and then people still want more or aren't willing to be lenient with you in those other moments.
They can't be flexible. And I get that. I actually totally get that. So for me, I would be like, yeah, but you said it was going to be Sunday. And you have to recognize that, and this is the thing, right? So you've got your personal brand. And so if you put yourself out there, because you have a responsibility as an influencer. If you're an influencer and you've got a following and people are listening to you, you can't be out there saying, I'm going to do it on a Saturday and then do it on a Friday.
Yeah.
You can't, because people are listening to you going, okay, and I'm going to gear up and I'm going to do these things. And I'm going to do that on the Saturday. And I think that's where, I think people don't give themselves enough credit around the influence that they have on social media. And I think that's a big thing. And a lot of people will rip themselves off. Specifically you guys, both of you, Jess, Tom, you're both the same. Literally you have an influence, you have a following, you have people that will tune into you and they expect a level of expectation, right? So if you turn around and say, I'm going to do this on a Saturday and whatever have you, they become discombobulated. I get that, but okay, so maybe you've just literally just thrown at me and I'm like, okay, fine, fuck you, I understand it.
Yeah. Can I offer something? I just want to offer something.
I love that you've talked yourself into your own accountability. That's hilarious.
Yes, I love it. I want to offer something. It's just something you can take or leave. It's not you have to.
Yeah, right.
Is that, you build a personal brand and you've said there's a difference between a business and a personal brand. Now, yes, well, you would know because that's your expertise. Okay. My expertise is leadership. Yeah. And what I would say is that you can have a culture of leadership inside of a business brand.
Yeah, you
right.
can.
And creating leadership is not creating yourself as a parent. It's actually interrupting the conditioning of parent and holding space. And someone actually put it there, integrity. It's actually living through leadership and integrity, which is holding people to account for their word. And you just put it there. It's here's what I want you to do. So that's why I asked you what you need. I need you guys to show up and support me. And what that looks like is you have to be here on time. You have to give them specific actions. Will you support me this way? And then it's a matter of holding people to their word in participation.
And now, you're so right. You're so right. I know, and I really don't feel like I did that. And you're saying it now, and I'm like, I think I had an expectation I just didn't have the communication that matched the expectation.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes you, sorry, Matt, you go, Tom.
No, I mean, I was just saying, I really agree. This for me as well. When you make that ask in a way, when you make it about people's word, and they give their word, and it's very clear what it looks like. Then their own identity of integrity kicks in, and it means they're much more likely to be there. So.
Yes, and also, when people use excuses as well, it's very easy to kind of like, okay, well, what's that got to do with your word?
And it 100%, and it's so stupid. And you know what? Like most of the time, Jess, the excuse has nothing to do with the real reason why they don't want to do something. Maybe like instead of using your bullshit excuse, just say, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect it or whatever. Like, and I get it, because I think that takes big balls and chops to own up to the fact that you just you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why
I be able to accept that.
It does. And
right.
Oh, look, we've got three leaders talking over each other. So much energy here. Sorry, you go. You go, Tom.
But it's partly because there's a slight time delay. So you think there's a gap, but there isn't actually. But yeah, I mean, it's like I also think even within personal relationships, boundary training is vital, but actually within companies, having real clarity on agreements, real clarity on people taking ownership of what they are and not what they are not willing to do. And just having that really in the culture of the language there, where it's like, I'm asking you to do this. Are you giving your word? Can you do this? Be really clear. Don't say yes to things that you don't feel willing to do. Be robust in saying no to me. I really, I ask some people within my containers, is like, it'd be really healthy for you to tell me you're not going to complete on one of the tasks. That would be a move towards health for you,
Well, to be honest, like I have, and I think I maybe need to pick that up again. I suppose in the last couple of years, I haven't just, I say stuff and then I feel like I don't need to revisit it, but clearly I do. Because for me, that is a thing. Like, I would rather you say that you can't do it and front up with that, because for me, it's great for you because then you don't feel like a dick. And it's great for me because then I have clarity around what I need to do to get the task done. And it doesn't matter. I just need to know whether you're in or whether you're out.
You're out.
Nice.
Absolutely. And with people pleasers around as well, because potentially as a boss, you do have people around you that are pleasers. I know that it's something that I need to. Being a people pleaser can be a superpower. I actually think it can be. But if it's not managed, it can also be very disempowering. So I tend to also check if I know someone is a people pleaser to go, I really need you to be very honest with me. If this works for you and you're really going to love this, or whether you're just saying yes because you want to please me, just have a think about it and come back to me in an hour.
I think that's really important. That's really important. In all of our relationships, everyone's responsible for their own boundaries. It's like, if you know enough about boundaries and you know enough about people, and you know that person hasn't got a solid no, then you need to. It's unethical not to get them to take some additional time to get clear on what's
think
real.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did this tonight. I need to say a massive thank you to both of you, because I was fuming. And I feel like that's why I took you were like,
I know.
I'm like, because I feel like the universe said, get on this and listen to these people. Because I was fuming, and I was like, and I don't like, I love and respect my staff. And I think I sometimes expect certain things from them that I shouldn't expect, because I haven't actually set the expectation. And that's something I've learned from you, Jess. When you start an interaction, like even day to day, set the intention.
Yeah.
I think it's important every day. Like, it's not just good enough to go, well, you're my employee, I pay you, so you should do X. And I think you should set an expectation.
Yeah. And you're a visionary, Hayley. I work with visionaries. Visionaries see things. It's a particular genius, and you see things and you see actions to take, and it all makes sense. And you've got the whole manifestation worked out
already. I've already gone down all the different avenues, going, I've worked it out. Just follow me, and then people go, huh?
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
Yeah, and then you get these different geniuses. So around a visionary genius, you will have people pleasers. You will have people that like organization and would like structure. And so you've got these geniuses that just don't think like that. They think they're like going, Hayley, pull you back. What is she trying to say? And they're trying to work it out. so
100%, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. So what they end up doing is I know that if I'm not really clear with my VA, she goes and does all of these actions I've never even asked her to do that I didn't even think was included. It's like, why are you doing that?
What are you doing?
That's not the plan in my head. You know,
that's the danger, right? That is actually the danger, because you're like, well, that they think that, like, well, they've done all this extra stuff, so they feel like they've completed your expectation, when in actual fact they haven't even come close. And it's kind of like, well, you've done all this extra stuff, but it's not actually what I wanted you to do. So
yeah, someone has just said, I get hacked off. Hello, Jackie. I love hacked off. That's so funny. It's not what you really say. I get hacked off when someone asks me, oh, how are you doing? Is work going well in these times? What are they really asking is, can you pay the full price for the service I'm offering? Can you invest in my business? Don't pretend you care and just want my money. I understand business. It's fine. Happy to pay for a service. Okay, good. I love it. Getting raw and real. Yes. And a language thing. Tiora says, it sounds like a language thing. It's all a language thing in my world.
I want to share something that I learned in terms of I help companies kind of create employee engagement. And what's really common is companies work with their top team or a PR company even, and they create a set of values for the company, right? And then what they want to do is they want to get all their employees aligned with the company values and get everyone really excited about the company values. And depending on what that company does, that's easier or harder, right? But what I found actually is if you try and inspire people based on their values, not the company values. So you get people to see how are their values met by being awesome at work. So it's a concept I call the character gym, right? So you see work as a character gymnasium. So typically, like a great boss, a visionary boss, will ask people to go the extra mile, or training says to their staff, we want you to be productive, right? Go the extra mile for our customers, or work harder, basically. But if you actually look at what is the actual human characteristic within that, it's generosity, right? So instead of asking your staff to be more generous in how they apply themselves at work, you get them to think in terms of, if you come to work and you work out your generosity muscle here, how will that benefit your relationships at home? How will you be a better father? How will you be a better human? Our work is the place where we get to develop the character that enables us to be awesome at home. Because, they want to work for a company that's values-based. They want to be inspired by the work, but they give a lot more fucks about their life being value-driven and their workplace being a place where their values get inspired. And so I call it reverse value alignment. And when leaders speak in terms of, we've got a difficult time ahead, and this is going to serve the business, but I want you to think about how applying with accountability and integrity and awesome efficiency in this period of time will enable you to have a more glorious life beyond this company and beyond the walls here and so on.
And you know what? Like, as you're talking right now, like, Jess, you don't know this. I mean, I think you might know this, but we're moving into new offices right now, and I have a beautiful new boardroom where I'm literally, as you're talking, Tom, I'm going, yes, we can take them upstairs and we can show them, but actually talk through the values and start proper training, not just like have a motto and go, these are our values, now get to work. No, like continuously weaving that in every single facet that we do. And that's actually what I teach people. And it's just doing it inside my own. Like, I mean, we've been going for 40 years and
wow.
It's a family business. So we're obviously doing something amazing. I just, I'm freaking tired because I'm moving.
Of course you are. I mean, I just want to acknowledge.
Move.
I just want to acknowledge as well, because I did research when I worked in corporate on this. Moving is actually, in terms of what stress it puts on the body, one of the most stressful things that you can actually do physically and emotionally, outside of the usual things, right?
Yeah.
So when people moved home, when I worked in corporate, I used to do home loan customer experience, and you get really upset people in home loans.
Yeah.
And everyone was like surprised about this. But what they realize is that when you move, the change on your whole life is literally equivalent to a death in your family.
100% it is, yeah.
So it's something.
My the physicality, like if I like my hands right now, I mean you can't even see them, but like and feel them, like they're like old and they sting. My hands hurt. So it's not just like an emotional toll and a mental toll and everything else. We've got to move phone lines and internet and like and a whole customer that like database that's been with us for 15 years at the old place, like transition them. Like there's a physical toll, not just on me, but everyone that's moving. And they're still gonna like continue to deliver the service and everything else and like moving everything. So my expectation is high. But
and just imagine, right? Imagine everyone, because it's not just you moving. So imagine everyone in your staff room at once having some close family member dying. That's actually the experience of it of the move. You know, so you could give a level of compassion to yourself as a boss to, wow, this is going on.
I
bet. Something just
mainly from me.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
No.
It sounds like a massive undertaking. Massive undertaking.
Yeah, it is. It is. So Siri just spoke in my ear, so I missed the last 30 seconds of what you said. But I just wanted to compassion. I just wanted to leave you with there's a whole lot of human going on.
Yeah.
Human.
Humanness.
There's a lot of humanness going on in that office.
I'm so grateful that you said that because literally, and in a business sense, everybody wants to treat everything like business. I'm paid from 9 to 5. I have like a structure that I can be bound by when it comes to it being an employee or whatever have you. And yes, there's a certain degree of that when it comes to being an employee, but there's also a huge amount of humanness that you have to do regardless. No matter what job you do, you have to be a human and be a good human and make sure that what you're doing, you just can't take the human out of it. No. And it's hard for some people. And when they reflect, and for me, this is something I stand by. Like when you step outside of that and you reflect back to kind of those structures, for me, it's like the relationship is over. Like if you first go to being a human being to work out the problems rather than reflecting back to what your obligations are, like to me, this is like being a clock watcher. Do you know when you guys? I mean, do you guys?
Yeah.
Like for me, like when we've got staff, like in the situation that we're in, like for me, the biggest no is being a clock watcher. I don't want clock watchers. I don't want people that look at I want people that are passionate about what they do. And is that too much to ask as an employer? I want you to give a fuck. I want you to care about your job. I want you to care so deeply about what you do that you do the best fucking job, regardless. You know, like, I get it. Sometimes that's too much to ask. Like, I want to pay you, but I also want you to give a shit.
Well, I think it's not too much to ask, and I also recognize as a leader, you know, it's a little bit like bathing. We don't bathe once, right? We have to keep refreshing it. Your job as a leader is to help them consistently see the value of what they're doing and helping it connect with their values. You know, I've got one guy who's come to see me for a decade. He comes for a kind of power up session, right? He sells mortgages, right? And what happens over the period of a month or 6 weeks between sessions, he thinks he sells mortgages, right? And then when he comes to see me, I help him realize that he's selling security, he's selling happiness, that he's helping provide and safety, and then he goes filled with spirit back out to what he does, you know. And it's like being able to constantly refresh the value that they're adding in the number of different ways and connecting people to the good news stories. You know, we can actually get so used to like eating good news stories for breakfast and not letting them like actually give us primary nutrition. It's like it's really feeding back the wins to your people and actually getting down into the minutiae of the like, how will that piece of impact, because you helped a brand be awesome or what you do be awesome, and then you calculate 1,000 years from now how many people that's going to transform. Could be in the millions, right? Easily, you know. And it's
so easy. That's so easy for me that's super easy for me to transition that into the industry I'm in. Because literally our boys like keep people safe on the road. They keep their families safe. They keep people from dying on the road every single day. So that's very easy for me to kind of like transition that to.
Nice.
And I used to. And thank you, Tom, because like seriously, it's something I haven't been doing. I haven't been like I've lost that way of doing that. I'm just like, show up, work. What's wrong with you?
Get it done. Yes. And if I can add as well, like I talk about human business, like really. I used to talk about, and they did that in brand, human-centered business, right? And I changed it to humanity-centered business.
Yes. Yeah.
So humanity-centered business, very distinct from human business, which is basically having tools and practices in your business that allow you to fully express your humanity. And that means as a boss, you go, I'm fucking pissed off. And it's got nothing to do with you guys, although I'm probably going to blame you because you're in front of me. And allowing yourself to internally reflect, but externally project, but have it fully owned. And then also allowing that space for them to go, okay, who else? You know, and I sort of I've created that in my business, and it's really great. It gets messy at times, and I haven't quite worked out how to do it perfectly, but it really works.
But do you guys feel like, I mean, for me, do you both have employees?
I don't.
I have
no.
4.
See, I've got 8. So for me, like it's like I have 8, right, in this particular business that we're talking about now. So for me, sometimes I feel so guilty about asking them to do things. And it's so ridiculous because I want to be everything to them, right? I want to be a good boss. I want to be inspiring. I want to be uplifting. I want to be compassionate. I don't want them to feel bad about their shit. I want to understand that they're going through personal crap. But I also want them to show the fuck up. And when they don't do that, I get very disheartened. And I suppose, and like, one of my other staff members, you'll know who this is, Jess, but my assistant will be like, well, it's your fault. You've set that up. You've literally set that up so they can just be little whingy bitches.
I could see her saying that too.
It's your fault. Like,
yes.
I know it's my fault, but
there's a problem we get. I'm not saying this is true of you, but I suspect it might be, which is called the curse of the genius leader. The curse of the genius leader, they are the go-to for the answers, right?
Yes.
So people are like, you're awesome, and they come to you, right? But there's a place, if you can, you probably do this too, you probably know this, but for those people watching, but you know, the power of a very well crafted question, which actually tells them, why do you think with that thing that we should do this thing? So you've told them what to do, right? But just by phrasing it as a question instead of a dictation, they then have to go through the journey themselves and work out so that they then learn something. It's a little bit like, you know, when if you're in the car with someone, this is before sat nav, right? You're in the car with someone and you've got to go across town to an area you haven't been to that many times, but you know, you might not choose the best route, but you will get there, right? If you're by yourself, right? And if you do that a couple of times, you know how to get there. You'll never need to think about it again. But if instead you're in the car with someone that knows how to get there and you know they know how to get there, every flipping junction, you're like, left or right, you know, that you don't think about it. They tell you what to do. And you could do that journey 30 times and you'd never learn how to get there.
No.
And so that's the curse of the genius leader. And so we don't actually enable greatness. We are sometimes actually the person that they just rely on. And so when we need to then rely on them, they're lost without us. It makes, you know, it's the art of a really well-crafted, solution-focused question.
Oh my God. You've literally just put that into perfection for me. Holy shit. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
And the pitfall as well is that you think it's just easier doing it or saying it when actually, like Tom said, that you're going to be saying it over and over. So you might...
In the moment it is, but it's short term.
Very short term, yeah.
But also as well, it robs your staff of a creative experience of their own growth, right? Which is what leads to the inspiration and the loyalty and the willingness to really apply themselves, right? And so it's amazing to me that Solution Focus, you actually tell them what the fucking answer is in the question. It's like, why do you think we should structure it in that way? Instead of saying structure it that way, why do you think we should structure it that way? They're like, oh, I think we should do it right. It's like, great, well done. You know, you've just driven there yourself. And that one little switch makes a massive difference.
There you go.
Oh, that's epic.
Play the long game.
Why aren't I on here every night?
Well,
hi, Jack.
Wow, nice.
So good.
You're a long time.
Yeah,
I know. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great. I appreciate it, Hayley, because, you know, you are a really successful business owner, and it demonstrates the struggles that a business owner has, which is human. And I'm all about human as fuck. And I think you really give space for people here listening to go, okay, maybe this is what my boss is going through. Or if they are an entrepreneur, you know, you give space to people going, oh, okay, this is what we're all going through.
Well, this is it. And do you know what? Like, the greatest thing that you can do, I suppose, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is to create the opportunity for other people to have freedom in their own spaces from something that you created, right? So, like, and that's by way of creating a job or an opportunity for someone else to jump on board. And for me, like, I feel like a failure when I'm not doing it justice. So when I see those guys, when they're in stress or they're not doing the things that I want them to do, or I get frustrated, I don't blame them. I never do. It's always on me, and I always take it on. And so I get like, it's crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard being a boss. It is hard being a boss. It really is. And I know that a lot of people have ideas around, oh, it's really cool. Like, it's, you know, you get like freedom and all this kind of stuff. It's like, no, it's really fucking hard to be a boss. We have a lot of things to consider, not just like how much money we make, profitability, taxation, none of that. Like, for me, I don't give a fuck about that shit. For me, the biggest thing, I don't. The money, you know this, Jess. We spoke about this. Like, the money, the side of it, and all the kind. I don't care. Money comes. I know that when you are doing something, you're in your flow and you love what you do, the money comes. So I don't give a fuck about the money. But when I see the people that are involved in what I'm doing aren't having a fun time, that fucking, it tears me apart.
Yeah, I get that.
If they're not on board or they're not doing something that I'm just like going, they're not having fun, I'm devastated. And I'll lay awake for days to try and solve that problem.
Yeah, it also makes that hard, though, to then make the extra ask. Instead of, I've done enough, so you should want to help me out with this extra thing, right? This extra move. If you're someone as a, you know, in the management role, the leadership role, it's like, I really don't feel comfortable with my people being uncomfortable. But you actually have an ask, which is going to be a pain in the ass for them. Every now and again, you've got to get comfortable with being a pain in the ass. And that's the place where a lot of people, they think I've done enough, so you should want to. It's like, no, you're still going to make that ask. And you have to be comfortable with the fact they're going to be like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. But
we'll do it, yeah.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And this is also, you know, just bringing it all back to integrity. I measure performance, and I measure performance outcomes, and what is really human is having periods of having lulls, particularly as an employee. There are just periods where you're not motivated, and when you have performance metrics and when you have clear objectives on goals to kick, the most important thing, and I'm happy to be wrong here, but it's just what I can see, is when people can see the results they kick and the goals they kick, it's very motivating. And so it's not just about integrity. So it's not just about going, you said, so I can beat you with the integrity stick. It's also about saying, here's what you've accomplished, and seeing the results. And sometimes when people don't constantly see the results, particularly in big, evolving, expanding companies, it just gets lully.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you know what? The flip side of that, right? I agree with you 100%, and I'm taking it all on board. The flip side, when that is continuously managed, they also don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
it's got to be reviewed.
Yeah, you need to change. You constantly refresh your motivations. It's like working out. You can't keep doing the same workout, right?
No. So and it doesn't work with people. People get bored, and I get it, because most people are competitive, even when they say they're not. They're competitive. Most people are competitive to a degree, especially in their skill set. So I am loving this. This is great.
Well, it's nice to get to know you better and to hang out and discuss these things.
Awesome.
I like it. I feel like I might have flashed like myself momentarily.
No, I've been looking out for it. I haven't got nothing yet. So.
Yeah, I can safely say I wasn't. Yeah, no. I thought it was great. I was like, you're so cool. You come on here with a wardrobe, with a robe. It's great.
This is how I'm rolling at the moment. Like literally just come home from the setup of the new mechanics garage. So
yeah, and I should note as well, you run a mechanics garage, you run Obsessed Hub, and you run Be Inc., which is a branding agency,
and Love Locket.
And Love Locket. So jewelry.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you've got 4 businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I'm like, show up.
Come on, I haven't got time for this. I got 4 businesses to run.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
and so being around people like you, this is funny, because it's like you're getting so much shit done. There is so much energy, and I say it's like ADHD undiagnosed, right? I feel like we've talked about this, right? It's like this experience is there's just so much energy behind you, and you cause so many results that people are like, I fucking can't do that. I don't know how she does it, right? So there is like I can't even try.
Well, I hear it a lot. Like literally, like, how do you do it? I'm like, how do I do what? How do I do me? I just get up and then I carry on with my life. I do some shit and then I do it again. I just do me.
Repeat. Yes. Repeat. I just want to say, Mary, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, saying that she feels that a lot of employer-employee relationships are based on old school father-mother-child relationships, and totally is. Yeah. I mean, in my work, in my practice, I see people who are burnt out from work or pissed off with their boss, or and bosses are pissed off with their staff. And when you do the deeper inner work, and I really encourage businesses to encourage their people to do personal development. If you invest in the personal development of your team, when they get the breakthroughs, then the loyalty comes your way for a start. Plus, you get a much more engaged, much more awesome employee, team member. So for me, you're totally right, Mary. It's like all of our ability to be awesome comes down to how complete we are with our past and how free we are to respond to the present,
Well, people get complacent. Like people get complacent, not just like, and that's the biggest thing. And great point, Mary, because literally upskilling and everything else is a thing. Like no one wants to start a job, go into a job and just do the same thing and just kind of, because if you're anything like me, like I'll get to a point with something and go, I fucking nailed that. I'm bored now. And everybody experiences that in their job. They're like, okay, so I've just got to go through the motions, show up and fucking whatever, like show up, do the stuff and the things. So if employers are not upskilling or at least looking for ways to add to their employees' skill set, you're mad, crazy daisies. And we do that. We do that. Like I look for ways, like whether like we've got like fully qualified mechanics that are now kind of like auto elects and aircon, and they just go, oh, you're going to put me through it? Yeah, we'll put you through it.
Nice.
Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I love it. So, and it gives them a new lease on life, something else to look at. But I just want them to show up on a fucking Tuesday night. And I'll make one auto elect.
Oh, too funny.
Just funny. just funsies.
Just for funsies. Well, it is now 10 o'clock.
Okay. Can we bugger off now?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on that, Hayley. It's been awesome. It's been absolutely awesome.
It has. Thank you so much for, putting your hand up and coming on here and going, and really just being vulnerable and showing people how you really were feeling about all this and being open to being coached about it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
Very awesome.
not even saying it, but like I've had so much like literally clarity for me. I would have gone to bed, I'm not even joking, so pissed off tonight if I hadn't have done this. So I think the universe called me out and said,
They did.
I'm really grateful to you both.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
You're welcome anytime. And for everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this awesome human share her experience. Until next week, thank you, Mary, anyone else who has been on, Marilyn, Kelsey, who else have we got? Sarah, Emily, Tiora, Nellem, all the people. If I've missed anyone,
nice.
You too. Have a great night. Thanks again, Hayley. Thanks again, Tom.
Thanks,
See you
Hayley.
later.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, that was good.
We're still live, huh?
Oh. Sorry, peeps.